Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson. That's me, Jimmy Stein. That's him. This is going to be an abbreviated reaction video to Jahlil Hurley committing to the University of Alabama. It'd be really weird if we did a reaction video about Jahlil Hurley committing somewhere else.
It would be thorough. We would be very thorough people. We would be like, hey, just thought we'd share the terrible news.
Yeah.
No, we have reaction videos when something good happens. We're going to have a reaction video tonight at approximately 10 p.m. Central Time. That's a reaction video to Alabama Vanderbilt. That could easily be bad news. But the Jahlil Hurley commitment is good news. He has selected the University of Alabama to further his academics. Oh, and he's going to play football too.
Oh, he's going to play football?
Wow. He is not just going to study. Dude's gonna ball. In addition to the English 101 and the college algebra 101.
So God, that's college algebra. What he get a look at my syllabus? I mean,
I didn't. I avoided math class as best I could. I don't even remember what they're called.
Well, Jimmy, when it comes to math class, he's what, 6'2", 170, runs about a 4.4. Pretty doggone good for Jahlil Hurley. What is Alabama getting in this cat?
Oh, big time guy. When we broke down his tape on the On3 message board a month ago, he was one of the first kids I wanted to get to because I was so excited about him. Not just the early commitment or that he was likely to go to Alabama. When I did my player comp for him, which is a great way to explain to other fans who he's like, what they can sort of expect to see. I came up with Antonio Langham. I mean, that's who he reminds me of, maybe the greatest cornerback to ever played Alabama. And I'm not saying that Jahlil Hurley, that we should have that sort of expectations for him, but his upside is limitless. I mean, this is a guy that could conceivably one day be a first round pick in the NFL draft. He's got the size, the length, the measurables for that. Great cornerbacks have hips that are on swivels, that they're extremely flexible. He can turn and burn. He's a natural cornerback. He's also surprisingly physical. He could play those other spots in the secondary, like that hybrid star spot might be a good fit for him. He's playing at a pretty good program. In terms of whether he play early or not, that's very, very possible because he has the athletic skill set to do that. But this is a big time pickup. I think, Luke, he's in that group of corners. It's easy to say this guy's number one, this guy's number two, this guy's number three. I look at everything in groups, and Jahlil Hurley would be in the first group. He's arguably the best cornerback prospect in the country because he's in that small elite group. I know On3 has him in the top 30 nationally. That's usually a 5-star. There's a very good chance Hurley's going to be a 5-star, if not just right on the cusp of it. This is just a big time pickup. I'm afraid too many of our fans, Luke, now under the Saban era, when we get an in-state guy, they just sort of shrug. This guy's big time. Remember last year, Luke, in the last class, we were fawning over guys like Dominique Jackson from California. Hurley's in his class. Hurley is that level of prospect. Just like the kid from Houston that we didn't get, that people were upset about, Denver Harris. Jahlil Hurley is the prospect that those guys are. So I'm super excited about him. Very likely to stick. Don't know if he's done with recruiting. It's so early. I'd hate for him to miss out on some of the recruiting stuff that's so fun for some of these kids. But he's always wanted to go to Alabama. This was sort of a slam dunk as far as projections go. So reason to be excited. This is a big day for Alabama football. This is a high quality player.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. And I think you bring up a great point about in-state. It doesn't bring the same level of excitement generally. Typically because Alabama's had the run of the mill. I think it's pick of the litter is what I'm trying to say. The pick of the litter of what they want out of in-state under Saban. That's what it feels like. I mean, you go back to, say, a recruiting battle with Cadillac Williams, where Alabama felt like they were in it. Auburn and Tennessee were certainly in it, and that seemed to have a little bit more drama. But now Alabama's just established itself to be the dominant program not only in the state but in the country. And so when you get a guy in the state, sometimes you can be sort of ho hum. But I'm with you. I mean, this kid's awesome. really good, really fast. Been hearing a lot about him for quite some time now. He's going to end up being in the top 30 to 35 players in the country. And yeah, I mean, I think he could end up being in Damani Jackson's class. So I think that this works out great. Super excited about this young man, and I feel like Alabama fans should be too. What does it mean that Alabama now has Hurley, a defensive back, and Elliott Washington, a defensive back? Is there only two commitments in this class? Now they're both very highly rated, both great players, but should I glean anything from that? Like Alabama's putting an emphasis on defensive backs, or is it just sort of happenstance?
No, I think this is happenstance. I really do. In terms of numbers of defensive backs in this class, I'm going to say 5 is going to end up being the right number for DBs in this group. Maybe 4, maybe 6, but 5 would be my best guess. There's another couple of in-state kids that are very, very good. Tony Mitchell from Thompson, another potential 5-star type kid, probably an Alabama lean. You add Tony Mitchell to what Alabama's already got. Those threesome alone guarantee one of the great DB groups in the country. Elliott Washington the second, Jahlil Hurley, then add Tony Mitchell. You're talking about a super elite DB group with those guys. Very exciting times. It's a great deep DB group in Alabama, but there's so many national and regional guys that like Alabama. I don't know that the tide's going to take anybody beyond Jahlil Hurley and Tony Mitchell. I think maybe trying to get in on AJ Harris down at Central Phoenix City. He's interested in some other programs right now. He's certainly a good prospect. But I look for Alabama to sign 5 DBs, and you add Tony Mitchell to what they already have, and Alabama could easily sign the best group of defensive backs in the country in the 2023 class, a class me and you, Luke, have been talking about for quite some time. You could sort of see this coming. A lot of things are lined up for Alabama to have an excellent recruiting class. Boy, they got certainly a good commitment with the second guy here.
And really quickly, Jimmy, we talked about it in the normal podcast this morning that Alabama could be looking for some new strength and conditioning guys. Well, it looks like they're not. I mean,
Right.
Last second potential change of heart, maybe. I don't know. Whatever it is, the strength and conditioning team of Ray and Ballou are they're going to stay, and that's fantastic news.
Yeah, all that matters, it's sort of like a commitment. I mean, in terms of like, it doesn't matter who came in second. It doesn't matter that whether they never really considered leaving, whether they were really considering leaving, whether they were out the door, 1 foot, both. The only thing that matters is who's going to be the strength and conditioning coaches at Alabama next year. The answer is Dr. Ray and David Ballou. That's all that matters. They're staying, and obviously, people should be pleased that they are. This is Nick Saban's choice, and they're still there. All that matters.
That is all that matters. And now they'll have another 5-star piece of clay to mold in Jahlil Hurley. So thank you guys for tuning in for this quick reaction video. Really excited about this commitment. And yeah, we're going to have another one. We're going to do an unprecedented 3 podcasts today in one day. That's more work than we normally do in a week.
We hadn't done this since Jordan Battle's D's nuts comments.
That still is great. I think we had an emergency podcast for that one because it was so good.
It was emergency podcast. The people were talking about it for weeks.
It was so good. Okay. All right, guys. We'll see you again soon. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.